So here we are, all packed up, ready to go to Scotland, the Highland 1000. We've got the 2 suitcases in there, 2 very large bags, all of the coats, all of the walking boots, and all of the accessories such as oil. I've even got filming gear in there as well, such as the drone. So we'll be travelling up all the way from the Midlands, and we'll be coming up on the M6. We'll be travelling pretty much the whole course of the M6 through Carlisle, all the way up through around South Lanarkshire, and then we have to try and traverse Glasgow on the motorway network to get to our first destination. One of the more memorable motorway services stops was indeed T-Base Services, located on the M6 motorway. T-Base Services was opened in 1972 after an M6 motorway was constructed. Loch Lomond at sunset provides a beautiful backdrop to our first night's accommodation. On the Monday, we'll be starting at Balloch Pier for the start of the first day of driving, which is the Highland 1000. So as we progress through, I'll kind of mark this out in a bit of detail. You can see here we'll be travelling up by the side of Loch Lomond, heading over into Argyll and Bute. And then from here, taking a mixture of A roads all the way through, heading up further and further until we start getting towards Glenclough, and then going across round and getting towards Fort William. And we'll go through Fort William, minor detour, and then we'll be taking our second night's accommodation at Roybridge. Travelling the A82 provided outstanding views of Loch Lomond and Ben Lomond. From there we traversed the A83, taking in Loch Long, and then the stunning Rest and Be Thankful pass on the A83. From there descending towards Loch Fyne. The single track A819 from Inverary heading towards Loch All provided some similar stunning views. In Scotland's heart, where mountains soar so high, there lies a place beneath the endless sky. A gem of nature's beauty, pure and grand, it's Glencoe, where the soul can truly stand. The glen with its majestic, rugged grace, a sanctuary, a wild and wondrous place, with peaks that pierce the heavens kissed by mists, in Glencoe where the heart and spirit twists. From the beautiful Glencoe, we headed down the pass towards Loch Lomond. So took the opportunity for a mountain walk in Kinloch Moor with the beautiful waterfalls and amazing views. Dining at the Old Station restaurant at Spleen Bridge afforded an opportunity to see the Caledonian Sleeper pull in on its way to London Euston. Then from Roybridge, next day of driving, following the Great Glenthorpe, and then straight onto some A roads, heading over all the way around, slowly making our way, Dorney, to the bridge where we can cross over to the Isle of Skye. And then on the Isle of Skye, we were literally just going to be doing a circular route, heading on the west of the island, following it round all the way up to the north, following it back round again, and then coming back down, and then this time branching off around here to Loch Carron. And again, we're going to try and take in, if time, we're going to try and take in Applecross. I'm told there's quite a good beach there. Be interested to see a nice beach if there is one there. And then this road all the way around. And then we've got our first night's accommodation at Shieldaig. I'll probably pronounce that completely wrong. The way north via the A82 and A87 took us past 5 wonderful lochs, including the famous Loch Lomond, which contains the Eilean Castle, the castle being recognised as one of the most iconic castles in Scotland all over the world, having first been inhabited in the 6th century, and the current fortified castle dating back from the 13th century. From the magnificent castle that is Eilean, we continued on the A87, heading towards the Isle of Loch Lomond, where we then cross over via the bridge onto the Isle of Skye, making our way up past Broadford, Sconser and then Portree on the Isle of Skye. Having stopped at Portree for lunch, we then realised that we were not going to have sufficient time to traverse the whole of the Isle of Skye on our original planned route. However, the B895 from Portree to Brackadale provided an opportunity to get the drone in the air and get some footage of the Jaguar XJ40. Following the road from Brackadale towards Sconser, the A863 southbound saw us taking some wonderful views of the surrounding mountains between the road and Loch Hartport. Crossing back over to the mainland from the Isle of Skye, we continued our journey north towards Stromferry and then traversing round Loch Carron. The highlight of the day really being the traversal of the summit of the Pass of the Cattle and having the opportunity to have the drone in the air capturing some of the footage of XJ40 traversing this single track road that leads round to Applecross. From Applecross, we continued our journey around the coast, taking in Applecross Sands and seeing some truly spectacular sunset, colourful images of the coastline and also of the mountains found on the neighbouring island of Rona. Then our next day we start off from there and we'll come round, and again we're starting to follow the coastline all the way around, and then we go in again and then up through Ullapool So getting quite northerly now. Up through Ullapool, all the way through, all the way round. Again, hugging the coastline there. All the way up to, is that Scoury? Another injustice on name pronunciation, no doubt. And all the way right up onto the north coast of Durness, where there are definitely some sandy beaches. We loop round the loch, and then we eventually go past Tongue, and then we are into the place, staying our next stop at Bettyhill. As we prepared to leave our hotel at Shieldaig, we were greeted with a bright, crisp morning with the light just breaking over the mountains. A beautiful setting that meant we had to get the drone out to capture some footage once again. Leaving Shieldaig and Grignard Bay on the A832 involved more beautiful scenery as we joined the A835 on the road to Ullapool. Today was one of our longest driving days as we went further up north past Ullapool on the A835 all the way round past various lochs and coastal roads. One of the challenges when driving in Scotland can be the local wildlife or indeed farm stock, as witnessed here with a full-size cow on the loose on a main A road.
Oh, wow, that's good. That was
Onwards to the most northerly point on our entire Scotland trip, visiting Durness and the Smoo Cave. So from Bettyhill, we then head along the A836. We're still going over to John O'Groats. We've done John O'Groats before. But actually you can take a bit of a shortcut and then come straight down through the Highlands there, and then pick up the A9 at Hemsdale, and then literally we'll be following through all the way down with one or two minor little diversions until we get all the way down to Inverness, and then we're into the edge of the Cairngorms National Park, and then we're staying at Carrbridge. A special mention must go to the beautiful sandy beach, secluded and private, that is Far Bay. Literally a 3-minute walk from our overnight accommodation at the Far Bay Inn Hotel. As we left the beautiful North Scotland coastline and headed south across the Highlands, we were greeted by rugged moorland and glens. Sadly, we were also greeted by some heavy rain, which was fairly persistent throughout the rest of the day as we headed further and further south to our next destination. and then from Carrbridge, follow it for the road through Granton-on-Spey, all the way down, across through, and we're heading into Aberdeenshire at this point, and we're very close, if not going nearby, Balmoral. Then we're at Braemar, following the road all the way down, and then heading across slightly west to Pitlochry, and then heading down, and then from there we head across. Now at this point, the Highland 1000 would head down towards back down to Loch Lomond, but we're actually staying somewhere different, so we're going to head down a little bit further south, following the road all the way down through Crieff, eventually heading towards and ending up in Stirling, and then we're literally, this looks really busy, this part of the map, doesn't it, but we're literally just going to be going on the M9 for a little bit, and then onto the A9, and then we're staying on a farm overnight. The weather remained grey and dull as we headed further south on the A9 in the direction of Pitlochry. Arriving at Blair Athol Castle and Gardens, we were at least afforded the opportunity to capture some footage of XJ40 looking resplendent outside the castle. During the tour, we were subjected to, enjoyed a performance of bagpipe playing by one of the local members of staff. Get up the next day, we'll be travelling all the way back down south, so again M74 all the way down, M6 all the way back down into the Midlands. On our last day travelling home, we were at least rewarded with a bright sunny start, although sadly this became very grey very quickly. This did not stop us though from enjoying the splendid views that afford the M74 south of Glasgow, and also the M6 as it traversed through the Lake District in Cumbria. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video of our exploits in Scotland. We made it home safely. XJ40 is now fully cleaned up. Our next adventure should be the NEC Classic Car Show in early November. Thanks a lot.